Nature, beautiful but also angry. In a moment, gentle rivers become raging floods, bustling cities are submerged in water, and humans can only watch helplessly. These disasters are not only destruction, but also a warning about nature's unpredictable power. Are we ready? Let's explore the breathtaking scenes and important survival lessons where humans and nature confront each other in a fierce battle. A peaceful morning was suddenly shattered when the Catawba River overflowed, causing a massive flood that submerged the area around the North Carolina Dam. The incident caused a chain reaction when the Edenville Dam could not withstand the pressure, causing Lake Smallwood to overflow and flooding many residential areas in Midland County. The raging water did not stop. Giant barges on the Arkansas River were swept away, crashing into structures along the dam. Meanwhile, in Kansas, a pool shop owner was stunned when his sprinkler system suddenly erupted, creating a giant column of water in front of his store. Even at JFK Airport, floodwaters rushed in, forcing the airport to close temporarily. This reminds us of the terrible power of nature and the need for flood prevention measures. Dubai, a city in the middle of the desert, suddenly turned into a miniature ocean when record rain poured continuously for 2 days. The massive amount of water quickly caused severe flooding, forcing nearly 4,000 people to evacuate urgently. Rescue teams worked hard day and night to search for missing people and record the heavy damage. Experts warn that this phenomenon could happen again due to climate change. Magnificent Spain suddenly became desolate after a massive storm swept through. Heavy rain and strong winds turned the roads into raging rivers, submerging many residential areas. Many people were stranded, and the airport and significant traffic routes were blocked entirely. Rescue forces had to overcome many difficulties to reach and help people. Climate change affects not only temperature, but also causes unpredictable extreme weather events. A year ago, this area suffered a terrible forest fire, and now, in less than 20 minutes, a tremendous amount of rain fell, many times higher than the monthly average. The streets quickly flooded, and the floodwaters swept away cars and destroyed many buildings. People had little way to resist the force of nature. In San Diego, the sewer system could not cope with the overflow, causing maintenance holes to turn into natural fountains. Water gushed out of the ground, creating a strange but dangerous sight. This incident forced experts to reconsider the capacity of the urban sewer system. Sydney's Town Hall Station is usually a busy transit hub, but on February 10th, it turned into an underground river. Floodwaters flooded the station, completely paralyzing the public transport system. Authorities quickly began pumping water and rescuing people. Valencia suddenly became a battlefield when floodwaters swept away everything in their path. Cars were submerged and swept away like movable objects. The gentle Ran River suddenly became a fierce monster. The powerful waves rolled up, swallowing everything in their path. A bridge in Austria has stood firm for many years, but now it is also shaken by the strong currents. Although it is still standing, its structure has been severely damaged, making it impossible for people to continue using it. Local authorities are looking for solutions to strengthen infrastructure works to avoid being affected by similar natural disasters. In India, when the tide rises, people do not panic, but instead gather to observe this phenomenon. The water slowly submerges the shallows, creating a fascinating but dangerous sight. Bali, a tourist paradise with white sand beaches and emerald waters, suddenly became terrifying when a small tsunami hit. Instead of enjoying a relaxing vacation, tourists were forced to run to higher ground to avoid the water rushing toward the shore. Although Killing King Beach is famous for its strong surf waves, no one dares to challenge nature today. The floodwaters suddenly swept away a camper, plunged straight into the waterfall, and were crushed like a small boat in the middle of a storm. People witnessing this scene were horrified, realizing that when nature is angry, nothing can resist that destructive force. In Marshall, a house was swept away by Hurricane Helen's floodwaters, becoming the living proof of nature's cruelty. Meanwhile, in Tennessee, the water level of the Nolichucky River rose to alarming levels, forcing authorities to deploy response measures urgently. This is a valuable lesson in the need for a flood prevention plan and timely evacuation to avoid unnecessary losses. Heavy rain and strong winds made it difficult for vehicles to move, even blocking the road completely. Some drivers tried to get through the storm, but the car could not move on within seconds because the storm was too strong. It was terrible. El Po, Texas, is not used to flooding, but this flood took even residents by surprise. Water rushed into the streets like a giant waterfall, submerging cars and low-rise buildings. Fortunately, the locals are used to dealing with situations like this, showing that preparation and experience are essential to living with natural disasters. Floods in Thailand's Chiang Rai province pushed river levels to alarming levels, even reaching bridges. Even sturdy structures were no match for the raging waters, with some being swept away in minutes. Residents captured horrifying footage, both amazed by the force of nature and helpless as they watched everything being submerged. It's a reminder that no matter how hard humans try, they can never wholly control nature. A dam in Minnesota stood for 114 years, protecting valley residents from flooding. But then, one day, the floodwaters were so strong that they overran the structure, washing away a hydroelectric power plant. The water eroded the riverbanks bit by bit and eventually caused part of the dam's foundation to collapse. Despite standing for more than a century, the dam could no longer withstand the force of nature. Maintenance holes suddenly erupted with water like giant fountains on a busy street. This scene was strange and dangerous, forcing people to keep a safe distance. Sarah Inoda Street suddenly turned into a river, but instead of panicking, some residents took the opportunity to row boats right in the city center. While this may seem like a fun moment, the situation reflects the profound impact of natural disasters on human life. Central Mexico was thrown into chaos as floodwaters rose, creating waves as fierce as a hurricane in the middle of the city. Many roads were completely submerged, forcing the government to declare an emergency. The phenomenon is a clear example of extreme weather changes. Floodwaters in northern Arkansas flooded streets like uninvited guests. The powerful water swept away cars and trees and even collapsed riverside structures. People were forced to leave their homes to make way for nature.
The whole town of Yellville, where a lot of the water's coming from.
Lima, the capital of Peru, was once famous for its beautiful riverside neighborhoods, but Typhoon Yaku shattered that peace. The river rose rapidly, eroding its banks and causing a series of houses to collapse into the water. The authorities urged residents to evacuate in time to avoid casualties, but the consequences were still severe. This proves that even seemingly safe areas can become disaster hotspots. Residents of a riverside town in France have not seen anything like it in more than 20 years. Heavy rains caused the river to overflow, carrying large amounts of natural debris that washed down streams and blocked the flow. Workers have been working around the clock to clear the water and reduce the risk of more serious flooding. Guatemala in 2023 saw historic flooding, forcing thousands of families to flee their homes. Heavy rains continued to fall, raising water levels and washing away many riverside homes. Residents watched as the water swallowed their possessions, unable to do anything.